Have you ever read a gentle parenting post and thought, yes, this is the kind of parent I want to be? Stay calm, validate feelings, hold firm boundaries without shame. And then 5 minutes later, your child is screaming because the blue cup is in the dishwasher, you're already late for school, the baby didn't sleep, and somehow you're no longer calm, you're snapping. And afterward, the guilt hits. You think, why can't I do this right? Other parents make this look so easy. If gentle parenting feels impossible in your home sometimes, especially with a neurodivergent child, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not failing. Let's talk about why this feels so hard. Gentle parenting has become the gold standard in modern parenting spaces. It emphasizes emotional validation, connection over control, and regulation before correction. And truly, those principles are powerful. But what doesn't get talked about enough is this. Gentle parenting assumes a certain level of nervous system stability in both the child and the parent. It's not that gentle parenting is wrong, it's that applying it in a neurodivergent household requires more nuance, more stamina, and more support than most people acknowledge. Ready? Because this is Kind Parent Collective. Less perfect parent, more real one. The intensity is different. All parenting is hard, but neurodivergent parenting often includes more frequent dysregulation. Transitions can feel like emergencies. Small changes can trigger big reactions. Sensory sensitivities can turn everyday routines into battlegrounds. Executive functioning struggles can make simple tasks take 3 times as long. When meltdowns are frequent, not occasional, the emotional demand on you increases dramatically. Gentle parenting works beautifully when there's space between storms. But when storms happen daily, sometimes hourly, it doesn't feel like you're responding thoughtfully. It feels like you're constantly putting out fires. That level of intensity is draining. You're co-regulating all day long. One of the pillars of gentle parenting is co-regulation. The idea that your calm nervous system helps your child's nervous system settle. But here's what that looks like in real life with a neurodivergent child. You are regulating through sensory overload, through rigid thinking, through emotional spikes, through impulsive moments, through repeated arguments about the same issue. You might be managing your child's distress before breakfast, then helping them transition to school, then preparing for the after-school crash. That is not just taking a deep breath. That is sustained emotional labor, and sustained emotional labor without breaks leads to burnout. If gentle parenting feels hard, it might be because you are doing an enormous amount of invisible regulation work every single day. The advice often assumes neurotypical skills. A lot of gentle parenting advice assumes that when you validate a feeling, your child can access reflection. It assumes that when you say, I see you're frustrated, your child can pause and process that. But many neurodivergent kids cannot access language or reflection when they are dysregulated. Their thinking brain goes offline. No amount of beautifully phrased validation will land in that moment. So you try the scripts. You stay calm, you validate, and nothing changes. That's when self-doubt creeps in. But sometimes it's not that you're doing it wrong, it's that the timing is off. Regulation has to come before reasoning, and regulation may require sensory tools, physical movement, or silence, not words. The sensory load affects you too. Here's something we rarely say out loud. Parents have sensory thresholds too. When you are parenting a child who is loud, repetitive, physically active, or emotionally intense, your nervous system absorbs that input all day. You might be touched constantly, interrupted constantly, needed constantly. And even if you love your child deeply, your body can become overstimulated. When your nervous system is overloaded, staying calm feels nearly impossible. Not because you don't care, but because your capacity is maxed out. Gentle parenting becomes harder when your own regulation tank is empty. Gentle does not mean permissive. Sometimes when parents struggle with gentle parenting, they swing in one of two directions. They either overcompensate by becoming overly strict, or they become so afraid of escalating their child that they avoid holding boundaries altogether. But gentle parenting was never meant to mean passive. Neurodivergent kids often need clear structure. They need predictable routines. They need consistent boundaries, and yes, they still need limits. The difference is in how those limits are delivered. Firm and calm is still gentle. Clear and steady is still gentle. Boundaries do not cancel connection. The public pressure is real. When you parent differently, especially in public, people notice. If your child melts down in a grocery store and you don't immediately threaten consequences, people stare. If your child refuses eye contact or ignores greetings, relatives judge. If traditional discipline doesn't work for your child, others may assume you're too soft. So you're not just regulating your child, you're regulating yourself while feeling observed. That extra layer of pressure makes it harder to stay grounded. And gentle parenting under scrutiny feels much heavier than gentle parenting in private. The guilt hits hard. Many parents of neurodivergent kids are deeply informed. You've read the books, you follow the accounts, you know the nervous system theory. So when you lose patience, it feels like a bigger failure. You think, I should know better, but knowledge does not erase exhaustion. Even therapists lose patience with their own children. Even parenting coaches get overwhelmed. Parenting was never about perfection, it was about repair. The ability to come back after a hard moment and say, I'm sorry, I was overwhelmed, let's try again. That repair is powerful and it counts. You are allowed to be human. You are allowed to feel frustrated. You are allowed to feel overstimulated. You are allowed to need space. Modeling regulation includes modeling your own limits. Saying,
I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need a minute.
Teaches your child that adults have boundaries too, and that emotions can be handled without shame. That is not failing at gentle parenting. That is demonstrating it. The long game. Gentle parenting with a neurodivergent child can feel messy in the moment. It may not look polished or Instagram worthy, but over time, something shifts. Your child learns that mistakes don't cause connection. They learn that emotions are survivable. They learn that home is a place where they are understood, not constantly corrected. That foundation will matter far beyond these intense early years. If gentle parenting feels impossible sometimes, especially in your neurodivergent household, it doesn't mean you chose the wrong approach. It means you are doing emotionally demanding work that most people don't fully see. It's hard because it requires more of you. More patience, more flexibility, more recovery, and the fact that you care this much about doing it well already says a lot about the kind of parent you are. You are not failing, you are learning, and you are parenting differently, on purpose. If this resonated, consider subscribing so more parents raising neurodivergent kids can feel less alone in this. And if today was rough, you still did enough. Catch you on the next one.